Now, I don't know if I said the price of this. This is $100. I'm a little frustrated. It took forever. Again, I am just so nervous for all the details. This is the biggest sausage of a painting project I've ever done by far. It's the biggest. It's the biggest. So like the video, because I am pushing the limits of my artistic bounds and I'm taking you on the entire journey with me, and then also subscribe to stay along with the project. Let's begin. So I've always been into Greek mythology, especially now as an adult. They are just some of the oldest stories, timeless themes, epic characters, dramatic, moral and ethical motifs, and supernatural fantasy-esque elements that I just love in storytelling. I've painted quite a few Medusa characters because of her iconic snake-covered hair, of course, but also because the Perseus and Medusa myth is one of my favorites. The past few years, I've also had this strong desire to create larger-scale narrative paintings with accompanying short stories. And so that's what I'm gonna do in this crazy project, a large-scale narrative oil painting of Medusa in a representational realism style, yes. When researching Medusa and reading some more myths, I found this incredible illustration of Medusa looking into a mirror at her past pure self. I instantly love the idea because it aligns with this idea of transformation, which is one of the major themes in her story and myth. And I was kind of shocked when there weren't more images of Medusa looking into a mirror online. I also couldn't find the original artist of this illustration, so if you know who they are, write their names in the comments because they're awesome. But yeah, I knew I had to bring this idea to life, so I committed to recreating it with a huge photo shoot, complete with props and models and glam artists, and that's where Hope comes in. Hope is one of the best photographers I've met in New York City. She's a young phenom with her portfolio and clientele list going bananas, but it's not shocking when you see her work because she's really just on another level. I approached Hope with recreating this Medusa in the mirror idea, and she was totally in. And I'm usually the one to produce and shoot my reference for paintings. It's a deep pleasure and joy for me, but again, I wanted every aspect of this project to be on a epic, huge scale that I've never really reached before. I'm trying to push the scale in all facets, so that's why I wanted Hope, a far superior photography than I, to take the reins on this.
That'd probably be maybe a little bit too flat almost for what you're doing. Like maybe if this had like a nice shadow here, like and it was maybe if it was angled from a little bit further. And they were a little bit
that's true. Lines. This is a little flat in terms of like a painting. And then I got my old friend Jade involved, who has modeled for me before in a past few projects, and she is just great. So we all huddled up to go over some things before the shoot. I'm a big fan of getting everyone on the same page and having a plan. This was a weird experience for me because I'm usually the one in control of every single aspect. The agenda of this photo shoot is to get reference to paint, so usually I have all the ideas and the image I want to capture in camera and how it will look and all these things. So translating what I wanted to Hope was a brand new experience for me, and I think her as well, but we were aligned and she's mega cool, so I was just vibrating in the thighs with happiness and excitement.
I'm here today because we are kind of setting up the shot. We're running through the lighting, we're running through the props, the wardrobe, talking about glam, but we've been talking a lot about lighting. I've never lit with the intention of having it painted, and it's pretty important, so.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be a model for a sleeve shoot. I'm gonna be Medusa, and I've never gotten real glam and real hair, so this is a really cool opportunity for me.
Just as this mirror is reflecting me paint and weather its frame, a well-designed website can reflect your unique vision and creativity. Squarespace is the best website to build a website. I have been so amped about my art organization's home base. It's the framework of everything. Squarespace's powerful tools allow me to host ticketed events. It has newsletter capabilities and dynamic e-commerce resources. If you're a serious artist, you know it's a good idea to have a website to funnel people to instead of an Instagram account. Squarespace makes it so easy with their drag and drop grid method and award-winning templates to fast and professionally make a website. I have nothing but positive things to say about my experience, and if I would ever need help, Squarespace has 24-hour customer service. So go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to build a website and buy a domain, go to squarespace.com/slew for 10% off. We got everything, so much props, this giant mirror. We have my car stocked to the brim with C-stands and lights just in case we need anything, and we are ready. It's photo shoot time. We have 6 hours at this awesome space to execute our plan. Our plan is to basically combine 2 photos. We're going to essentially fake the reflection and then composite the 2 images and have it all line up and make sense. Hope is fully in charge here. I did my job already with explaining what I want in this photo to the best of my ability, and she's now going to go X Games mode, setting it all up and taking the photos and doing everything. She is so legit, and I was just blasting her with questions because I love photography, and it was all just very exciting for me. Hope's friend Rory is on hair and makeup for Jade, and this was just a potent environment with creative juices flowing all about.
We just finished the first base of her makeup look. This is the first makeup transition, and we are literally just installing the wig that is going to become a very beautiful updo that is going to give us a little Medusa vibes, because that's what we're going for today.
And this is my first time in a wig, and he's so gentle and awesome.
Right now, I'm putting up some gold fabric to be kind of in the background of the first shot. And I'm trying to do it so that it doesn't cut off that light completely, but that wasn't really a part of my model, so I'm not sure how it's gonna work, but this is pre-Medusa, so she's lots of like gold and white and chiffon, and she's gonna be in a little garden, and then her post-Medusa garden will be a little bit drier and deader. Got some branches. Cool. And yeah.
So 2 photos means 2 different looks for Jade. The first photo we are doing is the pure younger mortal version. You could call it the pre-Medusa. This is white and bright, and she will be the focal point actually of the painting. The reflection aspect of the composition is where the eye will be drawn to. And then the second look is the Medusa version, and it's more darker and sinister costume and a bit more done with Jade's hair. Part of why I hired Hope is because she is also a super pro editor, specifically with Photoshop. So adding snakes and effects and honestly anything after the fact is all in the plan, but it's important for us to capture as much of the vibe in person and in camera.
So we're moving on to the second set. So we're building Medusa's little layer. So it's a lot darker, greener. We were very gold and white before, now we're like black and green. Just adding some moss, little black plants. Swapped out all our gold candles for black candelabra holders.
So it's a similar vibe, but it's different.
Yes, you could say she's gotten darker, more corrupt, but more evil.
What a freaking day. Just exceeded my expectations. I was honestly a little nervous going into this because I spent a lot of money on this photo shoot, and I'm a weirdly perfectionist and have an exact image in my mind, but Hope just blew me away. She is just a brilliant photographer and creative director, so she took care of it all, and I couldn't be more excited. And it's amazing how much work has gone in already, and we haven't even gotten a canvas, so let's go figure that out. So the studio for the Medusa photo shoot was on that street. I'm heading 1 street up to Soho Art Materials, where they make the nicest canvas you could really buy. And so I'm going to get a custom stretch canvas. I'm going to take you through their workshop to show you how epic it is. Crazy, I've never been here before. This is like less than a quarter mile from my studio where I've been for 3 years, so. They have several locations. This one happens to be where a lot of the custom aluminum stretcher frames get cut to size. This is their patented Trimar canvas. It's of the highest quality and unique because although it's aluminum, it could still have keys placed in it to be stretched like a traditional canvas frame. This is a family-owned operation, and Noel, who is the son of the founder, gave me a little tour of the workshop and process. Super mega cool. They make custom canvases for the biggest artists in the world, Upstairs, there's actually a proper art store, and here is where I picked out the depth of my canvas, the depth of the frame, the size of the canvas, the type. I went with a 72 by 54 inch with a triple oil primed and double sanded linen canvas. What a beauty. So while I'm waiting for my delivery of this juicy canvas, I need to rearrange sort of my painting studio. It's been moderately the same since I moved in here 3 years ago, specifically my editing setup. There's a lot of dead space in my storage back in this corner. So I'm just gonna take this all apart and move it all around, and I've been thinking about it for a while, and this huge canvas and project calls for this sort of rearrangement, I think, and it's very exciting, and now it just looks a lot better, and it's a lot more clean and functional with these new shelves I got, everything, camera gear. It's looking pretty snazzy, I think. Also for this giant canvas, I need to rearrange this French cleat system. If you don't know what a French cleat is, I've talked about it at length, but it's basically these different 45-degree slots, and there's a corresponding 45-degree slot to latch in so that I can be modular with where I place my canvas and the height. Because this canvas is 72 inches, it's the biggest, tallest canvas I've had here, so I wanna move one up to make it higher so I have a little more freedom. So I'm basically just going to be moving one of these French cleats, preparing for this big saucy dog. And there she is, right up there. So I'm basically only going to be using this one and that one, and I think the ground. Holy macaroni, the canvas is here. It's arrived. Would you just look how gorgeous she is? My goodness. Holy moly. It's just a giant gorgeous piece of work in itself, I think. Let's unbox it. So let's be careful here. Whoa. Whoa again. This is the most unsharp X-Acto blade ever. Good thing I have more. Now, I don't know if I said the price of this. This is $700. So this is not for everyone. I usually do not spend this much money. In fact, I like to save money when stretching canvases. I stretch my own, I buy big masonite boards, I prime it, I cut it. I wanted to give this a shot, the creme de la creme, the Rolls Royce. I've never done it before. I thought this magnum opus project, my biggest project ever, was a good enough reason to, at least once, and yeah, that's expensive. Wow, 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 wow. I don't even want to rest it on the floor, but it's fine. It's kind of crazy. It's like scary to paint. It's also just scary looking how big it is and how much I have to paint on to it. The curse of ambition, perhaps, you know, it's like amazing to think of completing the most big project you've ever thought of, but it takes a lot of work, and the work has really yet to begin. Like I said, Hope is a super professional editor also, which really makes her work stand out. So the plan was always for her to really work on the edit. You know, we're working with 2 different images, we're splicing them together, there's a lot of ambitious detail, all this stuff, and I was really relying on Hope to really start the edit off. I always have, you know, the ability to change things in the end with the painting, but I'm looking towards Hope to really make a solid first edit.
So our goal right now, we're not really worried about composition. We're just kind of taking all the images that we've done and stitching them together into like a basic format.
No details yet.
No details yet.
Yeah, okay, I like that. Composition, baby, composition.
Yeah.
So we got, you know, the major edit from Hope. The main objective and why I needed her expertise was to splice this photo and this photo together to make sense, to have it line up, to make it make sense as if it was real. We're stretching the truth, we're stretching the lighting and reality of it a little because it is a little bit fantastical, it's idealized, and especially with the narrative of this transformation of Medusa, I'm writing a short story actually about this, a retelling, so to speak, of the Medusa myth, but you'll find out more about that in the last part of this video series. And it's sort of my job now as the painter for what I want with the painting. You know, I actually spent like 2 weeks going back and forth, moving things around a million times, playing with the composition, the negative space and the objects, you know, sort of the lighting. And this is what I arrived to with these rocks sort of changing the setting a little to, again, match my narrative with the short story I'm writing. And it's a little more traditional that Medusa's sort of in this cave, you know? So I thought that was more fitting, and I'm really happy with what we got here. And this is the sort of final composition. Let's start the painting process. So now I need to bring the canvas out here so I could project it onto the canvas. The other room is just too small. I think there's not enough space to project it. And everyone's always like, a projector is cheating. And it's definitely not. I've been painting a while. I could certainly put the crazy complex image eventually, you know, by hand. I could use a grid, which would help me do that more accurately and faster. Or I could just use a projector that's gonna give me the highest accuracy, and it's gonna be the fastest. It's just the best tool for the job. I feel like that makes a lot of sense, but sometimes people are like, "Wah, using a projector is cheating." Okay, Betsy. Oh, this easel is actually freaking huge, and it has plenty of space to hold that. So this is the biggest easel I've ever owned, and the first time I'm truly using it. Whoa! This is a projector I got in like 2016. It's very not powerful. I'm scared it's not gonna be, you know, bright enough to see from like all the way back here. Okay, this is my super janky setup. Not gonna lie, it's a little scary in here, all by myself, when it's dark. So if you can see, I need to back up quite a bit. It is not close to covering this whole thing. So not ideal because this is all attached. We're so far basically at the door, and I think this is easily 25 feet away from the canvas. Good news and bad news. Bad news is the projector I have, too minuscule, not enough power or juice. It's extremely pixelated, you can't even see any detail, the point of using a projector. So, someone down the hall, even though it's 9 p.m. at night, has a projector that I'm gonna steal. Be good to thy neighbor. This is huge. Package secured. Look at this beast. Okay, let's work. I'm a little frustrated. It took forever. It's like 11:30 at night, super hot in the studio. It was just a rocky, cumbersome act. It didn't even turn out that well. I mean, it's composed on the canvas correctly. That's the most important thing. But I couldn't get any detail. This projector, albeit better than mine, is still not great. Just frustrating, not a great start. A little disheartening, but that's fine. I'm gonna go to sleep and we're gonna figure it out tomorrow and just keep chipping away. A project this scale is like literally, you have to think about increasing at like 2%. You know what I mean? Like 4 or 5 hours is literally 2%. So, time for bed. We're bouncing back. Last night, crazy failure with the projector. Even though I got the upgraded projector, it was just not working great. I only really framed out the big blob mass and composed it on the canvas, which I guess is important. But you know, this project, as ambitious as it is, as big as it is, as crazy amount of detail there is in this reference, I need the drawing to be complete. Absolutely as perfect as I can, solid, just in there before I start painting. You know, with the hands, I could be like, oh, the placement of the hands is kind of like this. And then when I start painting, I'm gonna absolutely just mess it up. I'm gonna have to repaint it a million times. It's just not gonna work and it's not gonna be as successful. I do this with every painting. You want a really strong, or I want a really strong underdrawing framework. And because of this scale of painting and how much I want to just kill it and be as amazing as possible, I am taking my sweet time the entire day today. I've been redrawing everything with this black wing pencil and eraser pencil, just going in, taking my time, getting everything in there as I want it. You can tell that the canvas is a mess. I just have, you know, graphite everywhere, so I'm taking a long time. I need a framework. I need it as good as possible, and I refuse holding myself to a standard. I'm gonna refuse to start painting until it is 110% complete. And I'm amped up now because I've been working on it for like the entire day and I'm feeling better, but it's just really overwhelming looking at it all and how long it's gonna take. It's gonna be like a dozen individual little paintings. Anyways, we're moving forward. Now we're gonna go in with some acrylic paint. This is an important step. I want to capture everything I sketched out. We're gonna work with some sort of underpainting situation. I'm not too sure yet. Have a medium idea. Use 2 colors, a white and a burnt umber, after fully outlining this in acrylic paint. That's the first step. Acrylic paint re-outline. And I will say that I'm happy with the outline. I'm happy it's done. It gives the canvas a bit more life. You can see that there's actually something going on, and it's sort of a visual representation of the plan. I will also say that it doesn't look great. I mean, you don't see the world or, nature in these lines, so it just doesn't look right to me, just these shapes, and even, without value and color, it kind of skews my perspective of what's gonna be down. It's kind of like a weird stage. And again, I am just so nervous for all the details, but important next step now is to do a big wash with the same color, just in oil, burnt umber, and I will start covering the whole canvas and then taking some of it away to sort of support the outline with a medium go at some values and to kill all the whites. So I think something important to keep in mind while I'm removing some of this paint, this isn't like painting, and so these aren't super accurate values, it's just bringing dimension to it to then ultimately, of course, probably be painted over. But this helps, and this is again just continuing on the path which I think will lead me to the most success, and the path that has stages, and I want to stay true to those stages and not skip any of these steps. So this isn't like high stakes really right now, because truly everything will be painted over, but I still want to try to be really accurate and bring out what is in light, specifically with our focal point, right? She is being transformed into the Dark Medusa, which is her current self. The outside of the reflection, some narrative to this backstory or some context to this backstory, this is in present time. So her reflection is sort of in the past. So the past to the present, that's the transformation, and the past, what she's idolizing as her past self, or even the idea of her past self, is what we're sort of drawn to, and that's what we're focusing on. Yeah. This is really where all the light is hitting. That's not to say that there's not detail and other craziness in the shadow, but it's sort of like this vignetting idea. And everything is drawn right here. You kind of look up here, and this honestly is going to be a little darker. It's like bright right here, and then right here. And I think that's important, and it's very obvious to see in this stage. Now, my next step is to go in with the same burnt umber color and some white and really do almost like a full-blown painting with values of those color, but that won't be till the next video, part 2, where we're gonna really start cracking away with actual paintbrushes, and it's terrifyingly exciting. And I think you're gonna wanna stay to the end of this, because completing this painting there'll be something at the end that's sort of a surprise that I've been working on for like years, and this is sort of the start of that project that has to do with finishing this. So it's really exciting. Comment transformation down below in the comments if you watch to the end. And I'm really excited to bring you along with this terrifyingly amazing, gigantic project. So that's all I got. Hopefully this was an interesting, start to this project. And it took a long time to get to this point, and it will take an even longer time to call this puppy done, this sausage, as I've been saying of a painting. That's it. See ya in the next video.